So we also get to check in with the Unconventional Dietitian, Daphne Olivier. She joins us virtually. Daphne, thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Of course, thank you.
So today's topic, we're breaking down plant-based diets. Tell us about this. Is it really sustainable?
So there is a big movement towards plant-based diets for multiple reasons that we don't really need to get into. But I think the most important thing to recognize with a plant-based diet is that it's not just plant-based, but it needs to be whole food plant-based.
Okay.
Because technically things like, cereal and potato chips and French fries are plant-based. So we really want to focus on, if you're going to be moving in that direction, focus on whole foods that are plants. And so this can be broken down multiple different ways. It can be that you're just focusing on increasing vegetables and fruits, but also other types of plants that kind of get forgotten are things like nuts and seeds and olives and avocados and beans. And, so our plant-based foods are really, really far and wide. And so I think that if you're trying to go more plant-based, it doesn't have to be black and white where you're either only plant-based or you're eating meat. We can also think of it as what I like to call plant forward, meaning that you're incorporating more whole foods, but you still have maybe some chicken and fish and maybe some beef every now and then. So plant-based is being pushed a lot, like I said, for a variety of reasons. So our food industry is also bringing in more plant-based meat type foods.
I've seen that.
There are a good probably 3 or 4 different that I can think of industry or companies that are pulling these foods in. So we really want to take a bigger picture and look at if somebody wants to move more towards a plant-based diet for heart reasons or blood sugar or whatever, it does take a lot of really good planning to make sure that it's not just plant-based, but that it's whole food plant-based.
I feel like this is where it can get very overwhelming too for someone that is making that decision to go plant-based. So what's your best advice on where they should start if they do want to go down that journey?
So I would say it's a lot easier to think about adding things into your diet than it is to think about taking things out. So I would say start with adding in whole food plant-based items. So you don't have to do a whole meal if you don't want to, but making sure that you're getting in at least 1 serving of vegetables with your lunch and dinner meal, or making sure that you're adding in some beans or some legumes. Or if it would be easier to focus on just 1 meal and say, okay, I'm going to make this a plant-based meal for the week, and you can kind of just inch your way into the direction that you want to go rather than feel like it has to be cold turkey changing everything all at once.
Yeah, and I feel like too, I know we've mentioned before too, when we're trying new or adding more things, if it's okay if we don't get everything in all at once, because then that often we feel like we failed a little bit.
Yes. So it's actually better if you don't do it all at once, because the chances of you sticking to it whenever you do a complete change is pretty slim. So it's a lot better for you to kind of inch your way into it. So I have a saying that I say all the time: inch by inch, life's a cinch; yard by yard, life is hard. So if you're doing little bits at a time, it's going to be a whole lot easier to make it part of your lifestyle than if you do a complete 180 and change everything about what you're doing.
This was a great conversation. Daphne, thank you so much for joining us. We're out of time, but what's that website so people can find you?
It's theunconventionaldietitian.com.
Guys, if you at home want to learn more, head to our website, klaf.com. Everything you need will be right there. We'll be right back after this.